Welcome, everybody, back to another special edition of Ro-JoSports where you, the listener, have the power to spark. It's time to kick things into high gear, starting off with my main man, Joe. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Rob, I think I'm gonna grab this by the handlebars, and because today's episode is about to get fast, loud, and real muddy.
Fantastic. So, in that case, let's grip it and rip it and hit the track running with our special guest. We've got a special one for you today, folks. We've got someone who lives wide open, goes full throttle on every lap, and is not afraid to get a little dirty in pursuit of the top of the podium. Grand National Cross Country Series quad racer and local badass, my best buddy, Brandon Hosenfeld. What's up, buddy?
Hey man, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate you.
We
Yes,
need
sir.
like effects in here. Be like,
Yeah,
yay,
Yeah, some clapping
sound.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be
so,
good.
for those who don't know, GNCC, or Grand National Cross Country, is basically some of the toughest off-road racing in the country, where riders battle through woods, mud, and everything in between, making it one of the grittiest racing series out there. Before we get started in the questionnaire portion of the interview, I just wanted to read off some of the accolades here that you have earned every bit of.
Sure.
Brandon, you've been racing for 11 years in the game, racing in the
Yeah.
GNCC series, the AWRCS, the NEXC, and WEXR, which are different series you only get invited to if you earn the right to be. And clearly,
Yeah.
with over 3,600 miles worth of grit, mud, throttle, you have indeed earned that right. You have
Yeah.
over 120 races, winning 10% of them, and 50 plus podium finishes. Last but not least, the 2023 championship.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. That's
Yeah, man. Thank you.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a fun time, man. It's definitely something. It's a little bit harder to do the older you get, but something I don't think the passion ever truly goes away. But as long as my body allows me to do it, then I'll keep trying. But I know falling down now, it takes a couple more days to get back in the saddle compared to what it was 10 years ago, to say the least.
You ain't kidding, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
37's hell, buddy. I tell you, it's rough.
I know, man. It just gets worse and worse every year. Like our parents tried to warn us, but yeah. So I think at least in GNCC, I mean, with it being the size that it is, there's racers all over the country. It's more of an East Coast thing. Obviously, all the races are from Florida to New York, and we kind of just hit those places from Florida all the way up, and then wintertime and that it kind of starts down south and then moves its way up in here during summer and then the fall. But there's kids out there 4 years old, and I raced with guys that were 88 years old. So I mean, it's something. If you have the passion and the time to do it, then I think as long as your body allows you, it's something that folks are gonna keep trying to do anyway.
Sounds like quad racing has the longevity of golf. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
maybe not as much. Yeah, maybe not as much, but definitely. I mean, it's been a blast. I mean, the 88-year-old guy, he wasn't the fastest one out there, but I guarantee he had the biggest smile on his face. I mean, he finished every
Oh, how
race.
could you not?
I think he won his championship. I mean, there wasn't too many 88-year-olds up going up against him in his class, but yeah, he finished every one of the races. But
Awesome. And
yeah,
you're not
it
out
was
there
fun.
racing 4-year-olds, right?
No,
That was
no.
that was the
So
20 that wasn't the
yeah,
2023 championship that you got, right? That was
yeah. I might have a little bit more wins, maybe, if it was 4 year olds. I don't know. But they're pretty quick too. The nice thing about a 4 year old is mom and dad pay for everything and they don't care. I mean, they'll hit that throttle and as long as they're gonna meet Jesus or they're gonna meet a tree, I mean that's it. There's
Yeah.
no in between. So they live wild. I'm like, man, I gotta go to work on Monday. Like, if I break my arm or my leg, like, what am I gonna do? So that's kind of in the back of your mind a little bit. Those 4-year-olds, they do not care. Just Jesus take the wheel type deal. But yeah, it's fun. There's different classes, so you can race as young as think as 4. So they have their own age, and then 5, 6. They're what we call like the youth series. They race before us. We're in the amateur, pro amateur class. So with that, there might be 300-400 people out on the track at once, but you're
Jeez.
really racing your class. So I raced my age group. So I started out in 24 plus. So everybody in my class was at least 24 years old and up. And then I eventually moved to 30 plus. That's kind of where I hung out. I liked it the most. But they have classes. The guy that was 88, he was called a super senior or a golden senior, I think, one of the two. And he was in that class that I think you had to be 65 or older to be in that class. So he was still 20 years older than the guys he was racing. But there's a different class for everybody. So doesn't matter if you're young, old, fast, slow. There's something for everyone to kind of fall into, which makes GNCC as nice as it is. Yeah.
It's all,
Didn't have
all inclusive.
didn't have that one, but bingo card today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And it sweet. So really, you're not really racing everybody out on the track. There is an overall that we're all trying to strive for, but the races I raced in, they had their what they call the pro 4x4 guys. So they all have 4x4s. They're most of them either switched over to 4x4s or started out on them. They're stupid fast. I mean, they're just outrageously fast. So they're in that class, and then obviously we're racing. So for instance, my last one I raced in was 30 plus, and we'd have an average about 15 to 30 people. Really, just depends on where we go. If the weather's crappy, nobody's showing up to it. So you'll have just your guys that are running for the full point series. But I went to Indiana one time, I believe it was 2018, 2019, and I showed up on our line. And I look over, and there were 65 people in my line alone. So I think there was about 400 and some people at that race that day, but it was beautiful out,
Jeez.
so everyone came out. So
And the year that you won it in 2023,
mhm.
out of how many racers is that?
so that one was a little bit different. So I backstory. I mean, I started out on a 450, like an LTR 450 Suzuki made, and I got tired of dealing with it. Like I had electrical issues and just overheating issues. I got tired of it, and my brother said, "Hey, let's switch to 250Rs." And I said, "Chad, they're 38 years old." And he's like, "Trust me, let's switch." So I switched. I went to a Honda 250R, which was built in 1988, and I ran an old school class in the A Work series or the AWR, and that one was exclusive for those types of bikes. So they called almost like a vintage class, but a 250 class. And I think that one we had an average about 5 or 10 people in that one. Just really depends at the location.
Mhm.
And I think my worst finish that year was second, and I got beat by my brother, which is even worse. But yeah, it's honestly like when we started GNCC, my brother and I, we grew up. We always went to the races with my dad. So they had some. St. Clairsville came a little bit later in life for GNCC, but there was one up in Boyers, PA. And I remember being a kid, my dad taking my brother and I out there to watch, and I fell in love with it. I mean, it was just like feeling the raw power of the bikes going by. You could walk in the woods, and being a kid getting to walk through the woods and that anyway, it was awesome. But to see guys on 4 wheelers just jumping around and going through creeks and hill climbs, I fell in love with it. So my brother and I, we always went to the one here in St. Clairsville that they have every year, and we'd go watch. And I finally looked at my brother and I was like, why don't we do this? And he looked at me funny, and I said, "No, I'm serious. Like, I think we could. I mean, who cares if we go out and get last? Like, we get to go out and ride our four wheelers and have fun." So that started that. So we just showed up to a race. But this race was down by Athens, Ohio,
Okay.
and I invited. At the time, I was working for Blue Racer, and I invited my VP and his wife to come watch us. I said, "Hey, we're all going to go do this stupid thing in the woods. Do you want to come watch us?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." So he came down, he watched us, he fell in love with it. So I was at work one day and I was just being who I am. Like there's no like I'm not afraid to ask anything or put myself out on the line, I guess you could say. So we were in a compressor station and I looked at Larry and I said, "Hey man, did you have fun at that?" And he's like, "Oh, I had a blast." And I said, "You could sponsor us. Like if you wanted to, like we can go to all of these. Like, but we would need a sponsor. It's kind of a lot of money." And I immediately I knew he was going to say no. Like that's my thought process. And he looked at me and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Write me up a contract." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, write me up a contract for me, your brother, and Cody is another guy, right? Worked with and raced with. Wrote up a contract, and that's what kicked it off. So we were sponsored by them for almost 8 years, I think, 7 years.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, they paid for our hotels, our race fees, our gas. Um, that was L&S Palmer is who did that and gave us the ability to go out and race and have fun, like be irresponsible on the weekends and just go race in the woods. So that's kind of where I got my start. And that was back in 2016.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun, man. Like a lot of fun.
So you're at 11 years. I
Mhm.
guess the main question here is what kept you grinding these gears through all the miles and miles and miles of and races?
Yeah, honestly, just there's been a lot of times where I'm like, man, this has got to be it. Like it's like you get your body is just like we're racing for 2.5 hours in the woods. I mean, you're racing for 40 to 50 miles at a time during a race. So our tracks are usually about 10 to 12 miles long, and we average about 3 to 5 laps depending on how quick we go or when we get lapped. And there's been times after races that like I'd be literally just locked up on the steering wheel because I can't move my arms driving home. And honestly, what kept me going in the end is just the family, the friends, just the passion around it. Like it was just I got to do it with my brother too, which was awesome. Something that we grew up watching and then being a part of it. So that part of it just really kept it going. Like just that next race, like you're about to go into battle and honestly kill myself for 2 hours in the woods and then not be able to take my shirt off the next day because I can't get my arms above my head. But it's after that kind of rubs away, you're like, man, we had a blast, and just the memories and the family that I built there. It just that's honestly the passion that kept me going, and obviously sponsors too. Just I mean, I didn't have contracts per se, but enough that I thanked them for doing what they did. So I wanted to make sure I kept representing them as much as I could. So, but yeah, I'd say the family and friend aspect of it, like anything, any sport, like
Yeah.
you could do it with somebody you like or your teammates. My teammates, I was trying to beat all the time. It's a little bit different. Like we didn't race on a team, so but I had just as much passion watching my brother win his first race and my brother, he didn't talk to me for a couple hours. When I won my first race, I beat him on the last mile of the race. So we raced for 2 hours and I think 20 minutes. And we had 1 mile left in the track and he got stuck and I passed him. And he didn't talk to me for 2.5 hours on the way home from Georgia that time. And I was like, sweet Chad. I was like, thanks, man. Like, but no, it's just the passion of the friends and family and all that made it easier to do
Good
for
for you.
sure.
Good for you.
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's awesome. Joe?
All right. You have over 50 podium finishes, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, what separates a podium day from just finishing the race?
Honestly, when I first started racing, I would get tired. I'd pull over. Like a lot of time, I mean, you're racing for 2.5 hours, so there's a lot of different variables in the tracks. Like you quick crossings or hill climbs, mud. It sucks. Mud. Even after 11 years, I hate it. And the older I get, the more I hate it. Now I'm a seasoned rider. It's like, oh, it's gonna rain. I'm not racing. So it's like before. What would really separate that difference is just not giving up, to be honest. Like it's so easy to pull over, take a breather, like kind of assess yourself. But I started doing that at the beginning of racing, and I noticed I was like, man, I'm getting past. And then trying to get back into full force racing after you pull off for 5-10 minutes to take a break, it's so much harder on yourself to then say, okay, time to go back at it. Like I've had to teach myself to just keep pushing, even if it's slow. Don't stop moving. And I started about a year and a half, almost 2 years before my brother came in full time, and he did that where he'd pull over and I'd see him, and I'm like, Chad, trust me. As much as it sucks, you have to fight through that initial pain that you're going to put yourself through. Like you get tight, you get arm pumped, your arms are locking up, you're just we just went from not doing anything to the most extreme racing that you can do. I said, just push yourself through that boundary, get through it, and I promise you, you'll have better finishes. So going from 20th, 30th place, 15th place to 10th, 5th, and podiums was really just that. Don't give up. Don't stop pushing yourself. And honestly, that made a massive difference. Like doing that, but there are days that it doesn't matter. The track's gonna get you. It's gonna come up and swallow you, and there's nothing you're gonna do about it except just sit there and wait to get rescued by track sweep. So yeah.
It's like quicksand, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been stuck in it quite a few times. Like just buried. You couldn't see my face, my bike. Just waited. Like, well, I'm done until someone comes and rescues me. So yeah.
It's like for gamblers, the casino always wins. It sounds like the track always wins.
Yeah, there's one track in particular. It's called Snowshoe, West Virginia. So it's up in Snowshoe, obviously Snowshoe, West Virginia, and we literally race on the side of a mountain. And it's more old school type. So it's back like GNCC started back in I believe 1970s is when it started, and it was down in Blackwater, so like Davis, West Virginia, and it was a 6 hour race that they did back in the day, and they've kind of dimmed it down a little bit, but and that's on old equipment, that's not on modern day equipment. And so snowshoe has kind of replaced that old school race. So it's gnarly. I mean, it's you're climbing over rocks as big as cars, you're cutting through mud. They have a place down there called Howard's Hole where there's probably 1,000 some people just tracked on the side of the track, and their job is to literally help you get through Howard's Hole. Just mud and rocks as big as trucks. I mean, you're just climbing over stuff, trying to get through stuff, and it's been the most gnarliest race I've been. And the first 3 times I ever raced it, I never finished. I made it maybe a mile one race. I'd make it about 10 miles the next race. Never finished it, but it was just that gnarly, and it was an accomplishment just to finish that race, let alone podium it. So the first time I actually got to finish it was with my brother, and again he let me go by. I think we had the lap left or half a lap left, and he let me go by, and I was like, "You're an idiot." And I said, "I know." He'd get lost in the woods all the time. He'd have no idea where the finish is. He'd have no clue what lap we're on,
That'd be me.
and he let me go by. Yeah, and I just took off. And I think he realized it. He's like, "Oh no!" He's like, "I think the finish is right up here." And so I took off. I actually finished second at that race that year. So
Nice.
going from never finishing to getting a podium, getting second was pretty awesome. But I was just excited just to say, "Hey, I conquered the mountain." But yeah, so it's the track can definitely get you at some places.
So a follow up question, kind of off of that. Where's the favorite place that you raced?
My favorite place has to be Ironman, which is in Irondale, Indiana. So it's about an hour north of Indianapolis. real small town. It's like Crawfordsville, Indiana, Irondale, or not Irondale. I'm sorry, Crawfordsville, Indiana, at Ironman, and it's pretty much like GNCC went to Indiana and found the only place in Indiana that has hills and said, "Hey, we're going to race here." So it's a big venue. Like all the major motocross guys race there. Like all your AMA guys, your four wheelers, your guys, GNCC. They actually had the World of Nations race out there, where all the nations bring their best people and go up against themselves on more of a motocross track. That's when you're jumping through the air, and I don't come off the ground unless I didn't mean to. So honestly, it's just that race is awesome. It's the last. It's usually the last race of the year. So you get your biggest turnout. It's kind of like, man, this is my last race. I've made it to the last race of the year. Like I'm ready to go out. It's always in October, so we do like a breast cancer awareness for it as well, which is
Awesome.
really awesome. So I have a pink set of gear that I only wear at that race, and I'll, I had my graphics person will set up like a full pink, and I think that's the picture that you showed on here. So like my front bumpers got pink duct tape all over it, my sidebars, like I put pink anywhere I can. Some guys they'll wear like tutus and tiaras and all that, but it's all pink. But all the proceeds from that race go to breast cancer awareness. So it's something cool that we get to do and be a part of. But just the track itself, I've always done really well there, and that's probably why I like it as much as I do too. But it's just the place, the feeling, the atmosphere. It just makes it awesome. Primo place to go. So yep,
That's awesome. I think
yeah,
you
man.
probably already answered the next question I'm going to ask you,
Yeah, it's okay.
based off of the mountain race that you
Yeah,
were talking about. But the question is, what has been your hardest race, and what is the hardest thing about that race?
yeah, that's definitely it. So yeah, snowshoe has been it it bites you more than you can bite back. Needless to say, it can be a dry summer. It could not rain at all, but with it being it's a snowshoe is it's a skiing destination. I mean, it's beautiful up there. Like it's beautiful. And it's really cool. Like snowshoe, it's one of my favorite races, but I hate it. But it's one of my favorite races just because it's in the village of Snowshoe, so all the racers are staying in like the apartments, condos, and the hotels up there. And they have like a band, and everybody just hangs out in little Times Square, and it just feels more like a family party, and everyone gets to just hang out and have a good time. But the race itself is just it's gnarly. Like it's gnarly. Um, I've had some other bad ones. Just mud. Mud kills you. I mean, mud is no fun at all. We were in Indiana one time, and it rained probably 2 inches during the race.
Jeez.
Um, and that was at Ironman, so my favorite place to be. And I think it rained 2 inches before we even took off. And GNCC doesn't stop for anything. The only time they've ever seen them stop is because of lightning. And they're literally like, everybody get off, and then as soon as they don't hear anything, get back on. Like there's no, it's snowed racing before, it's rained. They don't stop for nothing. And that race, I was in second place, or no, actually, I was leading that race the entire day, and just got real lucky with what they call bottlenecks. And so, like a bottleneck is if you come up in a bad section, like a hill climb or a mud hole, and everybody's just all lined up waiting to take their turn to go through it. You can either sit back and wait to kind of make your way through, or you kind of venture off and make your own way through. And luckily at that race, I got super lucky just making the right decisions at the right time. And I led that entire race. And I'm telling you, that four wheeler turned into a boat more than one time when I didn't even want it to. And um, I remember coming into the pits on I believe it was my last lap. I came into the pits, and my brother I think didn't finish that race. Something happened to his bike, and I said, "I'm in first place. Hurry up! Put some gas in it. Give me fresh goggles. I gotta go." So I took off. I didn't make it half a mile, and I hit this mud hole that was literally the size of my house. And I hit it, flipped over the handlebars, like water comes up, goes all my goggles. I was like, no, man, I got to do 10 more miles. I don't have any goggles. So I kind of fell back a little bit, and there was a guy that was racing in our class on a 4x4, and I didn't know it. So you can pretty much show up with whatever you want in our class. But most guys, if they have a 4x4, they race with the 4x4 guys or utility bikes. And I let him go because I had no idea he was in my class. And I was like, yeah, man, go ahead. Like, show me where we're going. And I crossed the finish line, and he was in my race. He was in my class. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I followed you all the way back to the finish line. I had no idea you were in my class. So I lost within like the last 2 miles of the race, which
Oh
sucked.
man.
But yeah, that race, like we went through fields and that, so they had put lime down like in the fields, like the farmer and that. So guys would get like lime in their eyes and that. Like so a lot of people had to go to like urgent care and that afterwards to get their eyes flushed out. Like that was a gnarly one. I had fun. I mean, I was get to play in the mud, and I rode my buddy's bike, so I didn't care about blowing it up or anything. So I just balls just everything it had, and said, I'm going to finish this race or blow this bike up. So makes it a lot easier when it's not yours. But
Is
yeah,
it harder to race in heavy rain or heavy snow?
I've never had to do heavy snow.
No.
Yeah, cold sucks. Like cold sucks because the more so it's just waiting to race in the snow. Like you're cold, just sitting there waiting to take off. Time to do your race. Usually, when you get moving in that, you warm up pretty quick. But it's just the mud sucks,
Yeah.
and like it's just it gets heavy. Like I don't know how many times like your helmet just gets like my helmet will weigh 10, 20 pounds heavier after a race just from the mud that gets caked on top of it. So you're reaching up, you're trying to get all the mud off of you. You're scraping it off the bike any chance you get. But mud sucks. Um, but on the other hand, I mean, if it's super dusty, that kind of sucks just for visual type deal. Like you slow down a lot more in a dirt race or a dusty race because you can't see where you're going. I mean, it gets
Sure.
to the point where it's just a total blackout just of dust, and you're trying to make it through without hitting a tree, which sometimes it's going to happen even if you try not to. But yeah, but I don't like mud. I don't like mud. I don't like it. I'm just, some people love it. They're like, man, I love mud. And I'm like, no, because it just tears your bike up. You just, it sucks. It sucks. But yeah, man.
Joe?
All right. This is a very important question here.
Uh
Uh, I ask it to everybody. So,
oh.
what's your favorite
Yeah.
Gatorade flavor?
Ah, man, that's a tough one. Mm. I like probably like blue ice or white. Is it white cherry? Like the cherry with that's white.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's my good one. My go-to. Um, if I can have either one, my least favorite's orange because it feels like I'm. It reminds me of being sick when I'm a kid, and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
here you go. And I'm like, nope, can't do that. My wife loves it. I hate it. But yeah, I'd have to say the white cherry. I think it's white cherry or the blue ice for sure.
Okay.
And then the follow up question is, what's your favorite wing flavor?
Ugh. I like barbecue a lot. So like if we go to like BW3s or something like that, I always do like honey barbecue. If it's not that, it's got to be like a Parmesan garlic, something like that. I'm not a big hot fan. Like I'll do it, but I like to enjoy my food. I've done I've done the triple atomic. I've done all that kind of stuff, but you're just miserable. You
when you
can't
gotta
do anything.
when you have to sign a waiver for your food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
I
Yeah.
know?
think
We have a lot.
I did that with Tyler Gray. I think we
Yeah.
went. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I worked with him at Buffalo Wild Wings here in St. Clairsville, and one of the things that they made us do was they called it the Blazing Challenge. And if
Hmm.
you worked in a kitchen to get initiated into the kitchen crew, they would take a boneless wing and they'd put it in the blazing hot sauce. and it was like the extract, so like the oil on top of it, and they let it soak in there, and then you had to eat it. And I watched Tyler almost die from that one time. Like it was hot. Like no kidding, it was pretty hot. But then the triple atomic, you just no. It's
Like, why are we doing this to
yeah.
ourselves?
Like I feel like my face is gonna fall off. I'm not gonna eat anymore. Like I can't even eat. I can't feel anything. So what's the point? Yeah, yeah.
Um, what do you think clicked for you most in 2023 and finally set you apart from every other racer in that season, I guess?
Yeah. I just had fun, man. I was just having fun. Like I noticed that like I put too much anticipation on myself to go into races and like this is gonna be my year, this is gonna be my race, and once I just laid back and just had fun again, it started clicking so much more. And what really like it was funny is we would do all these Grand Nationals and they're national series, and then we did local series like the Wexers and the A Works and the CRAs or the Faircross. They're more. We weren't going for points on those, so we just did it to like if we had an off weekend with GNCC or GNCC takes the summer off, so they take July and August off when it gets super hot. But we wanted to continue to keep racing just to keep us up to snuff. And I'd just show up. I had nothing to gain. I had nothing to lose. And I just went out and said, hey, I'm going to ride my four-wheeler for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and just beat my brother. That's all I cared about. Like, if I beat my brother, it's a good day. So when we started doing that, I beat him. And it was more like, I just having fun, man. Like, I didn't care as much anymore. Not that I didn't care.
Yeah,
I just didn't put so much pressure on myself.
kind
I
of
was
let
like, you
loose.
got it. Yeah, just have fun, enjoy your time out there, and that's on 2023 that really clicked. It was a lot different for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Brandon and I have two of my students who were inspired by us here at Ro-JoSports for stepping out of the norm and talking
Mhm.
to somebody in the realm of racing. I was given, excuse me, a few questions by a couple of them, and was asked if you would
Yeah.
be willing to answer them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of the students, his name is Braxton. He enjoys riding dirt bikes. He's
Mhm.
a big dirt bike kid. And his first question is, how many different series do you race?
So I think at the time, the full time, so I had 2023, I laid back off a little bit after doing that. Um, I think when it was in the heat, COVID kind of slowed down things. But I believe my 1 year I did GNCC, Wexer, A Works, CRA, Faircross, and two other series. Um, Two out of those, or three out of those, was a full series. So we tried to hit as many series as we could to get as many points. But at one time, I think I hit 7 or 8 different series in 1 year, and at least showed up to one of them. Um, but it's hard to you're trying to keep your bike together for one series, and really it's trying to rattle and fall apart at every race that I go to, and it usually does. So I'm really hesitant on trying to do anything out of just keeping it together for GNCC or if it's A Works. But there's times where you're like, man, I just want to go out like I did Jefferson County Fair one time. That was just a whim. Like, hey, let's go do Faircross. I was like, I'm too big. I'm too fat to be coming off the ground. Like if I'm off the ground, I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah,
And there's been many times I've hit trees and came off the ground. But I showed up to that and signed up for like the novice class I think they had, and I took third place in my first race.
nice.
So I was like, all right, that was fun. Like, but it was just that I think that 1 year I think it was 7 or 8 series. So,
Hell,
but it's just hard.
back then, you probably did some racing when it was open out at Powerline, out by where we
Yeah, I
use.
still I still race Powerline every year. So Powerline's coming back I think in May of this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, it is.
So It went away for a minute. So once they started doing like that drilling and out there, they kind of got away from it. But GNCC's back, A-Works is back. With that being my home track, like that track sucks. I mean, it's a rough track.
Yeah.
Like it's rough, but I like to do it just because it's my home race. Like I want to represent
Yeah.
people
That's right in our
around here.
backyard, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Plus, it's nice to be able to sleep in your own bed and then wake up and go out and
Indeed.
race compared to hotels or
Just get out,
tents or
drive 20 minutes, and you're there.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, to answer Braxton there, I think I did 8 in one year, and 2 or 3 of those were full series out of those 8.
Okay. Have you always raced quads, or do you have any experience with dirt bikes?
I grew up riding dirt bikes. That was the first thing. I mean, honestly, it's probably a four wheeler. So I remember my grandparents, my pap had one, and I used to ride with him all the time. And my dad always had four wheelers, so there's always four wheelers around. If it was either just going out and cruising, I remember being probably 2 or 3 years old, and my dad he would ride me up to see my grandparents. So we would leave the backyard and go riding through the woods and come out by my grandfather, his mom and dad, my grandparents. And when I was a kid, I was so comfortable, and that's why I tell jokes with people all the time. I said I was so comfortable on a bike when I was 2 or 3, I'd fall asleep on it.
Yeah.
And my dad would drive me, and he'd have me in front of him, and I fell asleep, and that's how I got one of my scars, not from racing. When I was 3 years old, I fell asleep when my dad was driving, and I smashed my head off of the handlebars. And so I had a nice little mark there. So he'd film me starting to fall asleep after that, and he used to take his shirt and tuck me up underneath of his shirt, and I'd just lay up against him. And as soon as the bike shut off, I'd wake back up and be like, "All right, yeah." So then when I got a little bit older, I think I got my first dirt bike when I was about 10 or 11, and I enjoyed it. I liked dirt bikes. Dirt bikes were more fun. You can go more places. They were just easier to work on, that kind of thing. And then when I got back into doing more riding in that, I was like, I'm gonna get a four wheeler, and then that's luckily how it started, and I just kind of stuck with four wheelers ever since. Dirt bikes are definitely a lot safer, but it's just now something I don't know. I don't think I could do dirt bikes. Those guys, I'd be on the ground more than I'd be on two wheels if I did any type of dirt bike riding in the woods. But
And his last question here, the farthest you have traveled to race or ride, you said you've been pretty much all up and down the East Coast. So,
yeah, so Florida is definitely our longest. So we're about, I'd say like an hour north of Orlando. It's in Osaka or Oka. I can't even remember the name. It's a weird name because Florida has some weird names down there. But it's about an hour north of Orlando is our farthest one. And a lot of times what they do is they'll each year, so we go to like South Carolina is always our first race, and then we go to Florida for our second race, and then Georgia for our third race of the series. And most races have 2 weeks between, so you'll race and then you're off a weekend, then you race and you're off a weekend. And when they go down south for Florida and Georgia, they'll do back to back. So a lot of times, what we would do is just go down race Florida, spend a week down in Orlando or St. Augustine. We'd say somewhere close or near Georgia, and then race again, then come home instead of coming all the way back home and then all the way back down. And I know one year, my I was on my way down with my brother, and somebody else drove our trailer. They took our bikes and that, and my brother and I were on our way down, and I got to Beckley, West Virginia, and like kind of when you go over one of the bridges, you have that type
mhm.
feel, that transition. My fuel injection popped out of my car. So like brand new car. It had like 8,000 miles on it, and the fuel rail blew out.
Jeez.
And I was like, "No, my God, we're stuck in Beckley, West Virginia. Of all places, we're stuck in Beckley." So I couldn't get into a dealership until the next day and got it in. They said, "Yeah, it's your fuel rail. It's going to have to be here for a couple of days." And I was like, "I don't live around here." So I remember I called the lady that sponsored us and I said, "Hey, we're stuck in Beckley. We got to be in Florida tomorrow." I said, and they were already on their way. They were already there. I said, we're not going to make it. And she says, get a rental car now and just start driving. And I said, okay. So my brother and I, we got a rental car and just took off. I'm going 80, 90, all the way down to try to make it to Florida to race. And got pulled over in Georgia for speeding. Luckily, he was nice, but I said, he's like, you going to race? And I said, yeah,
Clearly.
actually. Yeah. So we made it to like Florida at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, or to Florida about 2 or 3 in the morning, and went to sleep. Got up at 8, 9 o'clock. Jumped on the bike, ran for 2.5 hours. I got third, I think, at that race, and then got back in the car and drove back home. So I mean that was a long drive. It was long because it's Florida, but it just that one took forever. So,
Yeah.
but at least able to come away with the podium after a disastrous start was definitely worth it down there. But
Awesome. I
yeah,
got
man.
3 last questions for you.
Yeah.
This one is from Colton.
Mhm.
He is a competitive racer on dirt bikes. He's a
Sweet.
freshman in high school, and almost every other week he'll be like, "Hey, Mr. B, I won't be here Thursday,
Yep.
Friday because I'll be in South Carolina for this, or I'll be in
Yeah.
South Carolina for that race, and whatever, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Geez, man." you know, but he's
Yeah.
he's he's into it, man, and he's already got some sponsors and things like that already kind of
Awesome.
hooked up in that way, and he's only a freshman in high school. So, but
That's
he had
sweet.
3 questions that he will ask you. So,
Yeah.
uh, what does it take to become a semi or a professional racer?
The easiest answer to that is time and money. Like, just time and money. But honestly, it's just dedication. Just putting in time, putting in the work, and just showing up. I mean, honestly, you can. I've had people show up and has never raced, never been on a four-wheeler, and they'll go out and smoke me. I mean, straight up just smoke me. And I'm like, where did this dude come from? It's like compared to other guys that have been in the grind for a long, long time, but it's it's just time and money and just not giving up, to be honest. It's not giving up, and then honestly on the sponsor side of things too, it's just not being worried about getting a no for an answer.
Just on to the
And honestly
next.
that's what started all of it was just me sitting in front of my VP being an idiot that I am and just saying, "Hey, why don't you sponsor us?" Just randomly, like never expecting him to be like, "Yeah." And that turned into years and years and years of racing, like just by me asking that. And the same with like all my other sponsors. So I had like Blinzall, I had Skull Candy, like headphones, GoPro, Twin air filters, OGI bags. I can't. There's so many different ones. ASV levers, Slick Productions. All those people, when I got those sponsors, I just sent like I'd built myself my own resume, like they call it a riding resume, but it had all my accolades on it. It had my goals and why I race and what makes me want to race, and I sent it out to everybody. And I was like, the worst they're gonna do is say no.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I'm not out anything. Like I'm not gonna get embarrassed. I mean, the worst they're gonna do is say no. Like you're not good enough, or they're not gonna do that. So most of those folks that I was sponsoring, like honestly, all of them, was just by me taking the initiative to just not worry about getting no for an answer. And I had sent out something for Monster Energy. Like I was like, dude, they're never gonna sponsor me. But what if they did? So I
Yeah.
was like, I want to send out my resume, and they majorly said no. But they also sent me a case of Monster back and then said, no, we're not interested in what you do, or you're not high, whatever it was. But I got a free case of Monster out of it, and it cost me absolutely nothing to just ask. And in Blinzall, they were a big sponsor of us, and we grew up. They're actually out of Martins Ferry, Ohio. And they make oils for two strokes and all kinds of different things. But growing up, I remember seeing the stickers all over the place growing up. And I just went by the shop one day and I said, hey, I told my brother, I said, I'm gonna stop in here and say hi. stopped in, said, "Hey, my brother and I, we're from here. We race 250Rs. Like, we run your oil right now." And I said, "We would love to do a partnership with you." And he's like, "Absolutely." So he bought all of our graphics. He bought us the trailer graphics, everything. Paid
That's
for our
awesome.
oil, did all that. And that was just me by saying, "Hey." So honestly, just to get into that level of it is just dedication and not worrying about failing and not worrying about the answer no. Just keep pushing yourself and become what you want to be, honestly.
Great answer.
Yeah.
This question, I'm kind of curious too as well. But he says, how does cardio affect you as a rider?
A lot. And trust me, I don't have the
Me
cardio that I
neither. So
used
that's why I'm curious.
to. Yeah. Yeah, luckily my bike does probably 80% of the work, which helps. But cardio is definitely something big, and I hate working out. Like, I've always hated working out. Like, I was always been in decent shape growing up, but I just hated working out. Like, never had dedication for that. But I think the best way that you can train, at least for him, if he wants to continue racing and get better at it, is the seat time. Like, a lot of times, just being on a foiler as much as you can, practicing. If you can just ride for an hour a day to 30 minutes a day, just no different than any other sport or instrument or whatever else it could be, is just putting in that time, putting that seat time. And I wouldn't say that your cardio improves, but your cardio becomes accustomed to what you need it to. So you're not going to go. I'm not going to go out and run a marathon tomorrow, but I sure can go get on a foiler and race it for 2.5 hours. But you're kind of just training your body into being used to that type of cardio more
Sure.
than just cardio. Um, but even at that, there's times where it'd be 90, 95, 80% humidity, and I'd be throwing up in my helmet because I can't breathe. Like, I'm trying to pick my bike up. Like, just luckily I wear like a water system. They call it a camel pack, and you wear it around your back, and it has a little tube that comes up and goes in my helmet, so I can somewhat stay hydrated. But man, there's times where I thought I was gonna die, like straight up pass out and die, just straight. My heart, I could feel it just beating on my chest. I was like, "This is it. Jesus is coming. Like, I'm
Yeah.
about to see
Yeah.
Jesus."
While you're in the
Like,
while you're deep in the mud and everything.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Like, so yeah, I think it's more just training your body for the type of cardio, not so much just having cardio, if that makes sense.
Sure. Last question here. Um, how much weekly work does it take to stay in your groove? So if you don't have like a race coming up this weekend or whatever, how much work would you still put in to be prepared for the next upcoming race?
Yeah, like I said, if you have the means, it's definitely nice to have it. Just even if it's putting around in the backyard, if you have the means to be able to ride somewhere for a little bit longer, that definitely helps because it keeps your body loose. It keeps your body ready for that type of thing. And if there's a big break in between stuff, just try to find a local series. A lot of times they're looking for people that they like it when we show up because we're bringing more people, or it gives them more not press, but gives them more insight on the racing and people see it. So I'd say if you work out, not like me, but if you work out, there's definitely things out there that you can look up to help. Really, our strength came more like core strength, arm strength, and leg strength, especially for the dirt bike guys. I mean, their legs are strong as hell just to keep that squeeze on that bike. So one of the things helped me a lot is just doing a lot of like hand and arm workout. Um, just like squeezing like a not a stress ball, but different things like that. I had like a dumbbell tied to a rope and you twist it, but really you're just trying to build up your forearms and that. And the best way to do it again is just having that seat time. Just any chance you can get to ride, go ride.
Yeah,
And do that as
and
much as you can.
and I'm sure there's smaller local events like whenever you guys come in too, because it gives their maybe beginner riders a chance to race with or against more experienced riders. So I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like that would be
yeah,
a big motive to be like, oh, I'm going to try and beat this guy, or whatever,
yeah, oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And they do. They're definitely done it many a times to me. But it's just I like the local series too. Like the big series are awesome. Like there's thousands of people. I mean, it's I think one race at Ironman as a breast cancer when we had like the 65 people in that one line. I think there was like 20 some thousand people at that race, like spectators, racers, everybody. But you get to meet so many different people from all over the country, and it just I enjoy getting to hang out with them and hang out with the kids. And I think more now being a dad, it definitely helps even more. Where I'm like, let me help you, or let me show you, like it just makes it more fun and helps out so much more. So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely having that local series helps for sure.
Yep. Well, thank you, Braxton. Thank you, Colton, for the questions, and thank
Yeah,
you
thanks
for
guys.
being willing to answer them. And Joe, you have anything else?
No, I think that's it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, man, I appreciate being here. This is fun.
Yeah,
This is
the
great.
the only four-wheeler racing experience that I have is on PlayStation 2 with the ATV off-road. That's about all I
Oh
got.
yeah,
So,
that's
know,
one of the best games ever.
I know
ATV Off Road
still,
Fury 2,
still
by
today.
hands down, still the best.
Yep.
Still the best.
Yep.
I was always the MX versus ATV, like
Oh yeah.
the Unleashed one where you could like
Oh
drive
yeah.
a monster
Yeah.
truck.
Oh yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah. I
Trials
remember that game.
Fusion.
I love that game. Yeah. Yeah. I still have my PlayStation 2. I'll pull out ATV
Same.
Off of Fury every once in a while. I'm like now I get to do this. Like now I'm part of it, which is kind of cool. But just growing up and playing it, I still do. Like I still get nostalgia out of it for sure.
Yeah, you
But
have to. Have to turn back the
yeah,
time every once in a while.
yeah. Show these kids what old school games used to look
Oh
like.
yeah.
And looking at them now, you're like, man. I remember when I looked at this, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, we thought
Now,
GoldenEye was it.
oh,
And
dude, yeah, yeah,
it still is. I don't care.
yeah. We're playing Halo and what was it, Mr. Wolf's Class
Yeah.
for hours with
Yeah.
25 Xboxes hooked up and
Yeah.
10 TVs. Yeah,
Unreal Tournament
yeah.
or whatever it was called.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the kids have no idea the struggles that we went through.
No, dial.
But
Could you imagine that kind of stuff trying to
yeah,
play? Anyway,
heck
jeez
no,
Louise.
no.
Burning CDs,
But, oh
Oh,
yeah, LimeWire.
LimeWire,
Like,
Napster. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We were all pirates at one time in our lives. Like,
No, I just root for them.
yeah, yeah. What's they doing over? They're doing good so far. They're
Yeah,
still
they
they're
are.
still up there.
They are for sure.
We'll
But
see how that goes.
thank you so much for
Yep,
being a part of the show, for coming on and catching
I
back up.
appreciate it,
If
dude.
anything, it's been a while. Good to catch up with you personally as well
Yeah, yeah,
in this realm. So
absolutely, man.
yeah,
Well, I appreciate it. I enjoy your guys' show, and it's awesome that you guys are getting to do this, and I hope that it keeps growing. And before you know it, we'll see your names and faces on the side of billboards, and I'm like, hey, I was on that show like a long
the
time ago. But
the
yeah,
the whole idea. You grew up with me. I know you know who these guys are, but
yeah,
the whole thing about this, kind of like how you and your brother was like, hey, let's try it. What the hell? Who cares?
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
Joe and
yeah.
I kind of had that same thought almost 8 months ago today.
That's awesome. Yeah,
And we were like, hey, let's just go on there, talk some sports. If people listen, cool. If not, who
yeah,
cares? Whatever. And
yeah.
I forget what the hell we were even talking about. I think it was baseball or something. We were arguing baseball or.
no, it
Yeah.
was. I think it was like top five quarterbacks or something. I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you had
Yeah.
like I forget who you had in. I was like, no way, or something like
And
that.
I was like, hold on. I have an idea. I have
Yeah.
an
Let's
idea. And
record this.
yeah,
So I can use it
for
at
some reason, people want to see our faces or something. Let's just
Yeah.
do it, And but seemingly, it's
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
working
I'm
out.
proud
So.
of you. That's awesome. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice meeting you too, Joe. So
Yep.
it's been
Nice meeting you. Yeah.
it was fun, man.
All right,
I
buddy.
enjoy it.
Well, hey, have a good one,
Hey.
and good luck in the rest of your races. And thanks
Yep.
again.
Yes, sir. If you're ever around St. Clairsville around May, just let me know, and I'll get you over there so you can
All right,
check it out.
I'd love to
in
come
person.
to the power line. He's actually Colton's going to compete in that. He told me that he's gonna go to
Oh,
that. So.
oh, sweet. Yeah, yeah. Tell him I'll be there. So tell him look for the big Blinzall tent. So tell him say hi.
We'll do.
So
Gladly.
all right, man.
Gladly, for sure. All right, buddy. Hey, you
Well,
take
I
care of
appreciate it
yourself.
all. Yeah, man. Thanks, everybody.
All right, see you, buddy.
See you,
Bye.
man.